Hello students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for Chapter 1 Economics Part 5 The Story of Village Palampur. In this video, we are going to discuss the question answers of the chapter. So the first question is, every village in India is surveyed once in 10 years during the census and some of the details are presented in the following format. Fill up the following based on information on Palampur. So you need to mention location, total area of the village, land use which is in hectare. Answer is location Bulandshahr district, Western Uttar Pradesh. Total area of the village 226 hectares and land use in hectares here you have cultivated lands. So irrigated 200 hectares and unirrigated you don't have that land. Land not available for cultivation, area covering dwellings, roads, ponds, grazing ground. We have 26 hectares. Now the facilities which are there in the village of Palampur are educational, one high school and two primary schools, medical, one private dispensary, one primary health care center run by the government. Market, there are two markets, Raiganj and Shahpur. Electricity supply, most of the houses have electricity connections, electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields and is also used for various small business. Next we have communication. So well connected neighboring villages with Raiganj within 3 km, proper transportation including bullock carts, tongas, bogies carrying jaggery, also motor vehicles like motorcycles, jeep, tractors and trucks are available for easy transportation. Nearest town is Shahpur. Second question is, modern farming methods require more inputs which are manufactured in industry. Do you agree? Answer is yes. I agree with this statement. Traditional farming methods involve the use of relatively low yielding seeds which require less water for irrigation. Farmers following the traditional methods use cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizers. All these elements are readily available with the farmers. This makes them less independent on industrial output. Modern farming methods, on the other hand, involve the use of high yielding variety seeds. These seeds require a combination of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Agricultural implements like tractors and proper irrigation facilities like electric tube wells to produce the best results. All these elements are manufactured in industries. Hence, it would be right to say that modern farming methods make use of a great number of industrial outputs as compared to traditional farming methods. Next is, how did the spread of electricity help farmers in Palampur? The spread of electricity in Palampur transformed the system of irrigation in the village. Portion wheels gave way to electric run tube wells, which reduce the dependence of the farmers upon rainfall and enabled larger area of land to be irrigated. Now, by mid 1970s, the entire cultivated land of 200 hectares was irrigated. This improvement in irrigation allowed farmers to grow 3 different crops in a year, thereby ensuring the cultivable land was being used for producing the maximum possible output. Fourth is it important to increase the area under irrigation? Why? Monsoons are by their very nature erratic and variable. So farming cannot entirely depend upon rains. A large portion of the cultivable land in India is not well irrigated and is dependent entirely upon rains. As a result, when rains are late or are inadequate, farmers incur much loss. The loss is more acutely experienced by the small farmers. Failure of rain means failure of crops and a total waste of efforts and resources, both for the individual farmers and for the economy. So, avoid such situations. It is important for the entire cultivable area of the country to be brought under the protective shield of proper irrigation facilities. A well irrigated land produces great output. The constant availability for water for irrigation provides a sense of stability to the farmer and also encourages him to practice newer farming methods and patterns to maximize the productivity from his land. Next question is, construct a table on the distribution of land among the 450 families of Palampur. And here is the distribution of the land given. Next question is, why are the wages for the farm laborers in Palampur less than minimum wages? So the answer is, though the minimum wage fixed by the government for a farm laborer is rupees 60 per day, farm laborers in Palampur get paid much less, about 35 to 40 rupees a day. The reason for this is the competition for work among the agricultural laborers in the village. Knowing that supply is much more than the demand, they themselves agree to work for wages that are lower than minimum wages. The large farmers to exploit this condition to excess supply and force laborers to work for low wages. The use of modern agricultural implements like tractors, threshers, and harvesters also reduces the amount of agricultural labor required. This further intensifies the competition among the laborers looking for jobs. Next is, what are the different ways of increasing production on the same piece of land? Use examples to explain. Answer is, to grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping, and it is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. The best example for this is the cultivation in Palampur. In Palampur, jowar and bajra grow during the rainy season, followed by potato between October and December, and during the winter season, wheat is sown in the fields. The main reason for this, the well developed system of irrigation. Next question is, describe the work of a farmer with 1 hectare of land? Answer is, a farmer with 1 hectare of land will be called a small farmer. Since the area for cultivation is small, the outcome may also not be high. So, in order to be able to yield the land in the best possible way, the farmer needs money. This money is borrowed from a money lender at a high interest rate, and at times may also have to work as a farm laborer for the money lender. Once the farm is cultivated, the produce has to be divided for personal use and for selling in market. Whatever profit is earned, the farmer has to usually give it away to the money lender, and little sum of money is left for the use of the farmer himself. The only help a small farmer gets is that of his family members. Next question is, how do the medium and large farmers obtain capital for farming? How is it different from the small farmers? Answer is, medium and large farmers retain a part of their produce and sell the surplus in the market. This provides them with the required capital of farming. Most of them even use these earnings to provide loans to small farmers. By charging high rates of interest on these loans, they succeed in furthering their earnings. Thus, medium and large farmers have ready capital with them from one agricultural season to the next. The situation of small farmers is in stark contrast. They begin in agricultural season with no working capital and end the season on more or less the same note. To begin working on their farms, they take loans at high rates of interest. Due to the small sizes of their farms, their total production is small. Their produce is kept for their needs or for repaying their lenders. As a result, they have no surplus to sell in market and thus have no savings. Next question is, on what terms did Savita get a loan from Tejpal Singh? Would Savita's condition be different if she could get a loan from the bank at a low rate of interest? The answer is, Savita requires money for buying seeds, fertilizers and pesticides, and water for irrigation. She also needed money for repairing her farm instruments. So, she decided to borrow money from Tejpal Singh, a large farmer in her village. Tejpal Singh agreed to him the loan of rupees 3,000 at an interest rate of 24% for 4 months. He also got her to agree to work on his field during the harvest season for rupees 35 a day. Knowing that it was difficult for a small farmer like herself to get a loan, she agreed to these tough conditions. If she could get a loan from a bank, then her situation would definitely have been different. First of all, she would have got the loan at a reasonable rate of interest. Secondly, she would have been able to focus her entire attention on her farm. She would also have been able to devote more times to the needs of her family members, especially those of her children. Next question is, what are the non-farm production activities taking place in your region Make a short list. So some of the non-farm production activities are dairy, transportation, general stores, fishing, mining. Next question is, what can be done so that more non-farm production activities can be started in villages? Three things that need to be done to encourage non-farm production activities in villages. First, the government should set up schemes whereby landless laborers and small farmers are able to get cheap loans to start small individual or community businesses. Second, in addition to financial assistance, the government should set up rural workshops to enable the villagers to build on their skill levels. Third, the government should also work towards improving the infrastructure of villages so that the rural parts of the country are well connected to the urban areas. I hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.